Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope you're all doing very well. And for those of you who are able to take advantage of the Barnes & Noble Criterion Collection sale, I hope you are enjoying yourselves and that you are getting the titles that you are looking for. As always, please feel free at any time to let me know and let us all know the titles that you end up getting or plan to get. Again, this is a very exciting time because these Criterion titles are very great releases and they're not so cheap. So to be able to get them at a considerable discount, as one can during the Barnes & Noble sale, is a really exciting time in my opinion. So please let me know what titles you get. I would love to hear about this. And so with that, my friends, let me just now speak to you about a particular filmmaker who has a number of films in the Criterion Collection right now. I understand, however, that the number of films that are in the Criterion Collection is relatively few compared to this filmmaker's overall filmography output, which is quite vast, quite large, and this filmmaker has been active as a professional filmmaker for many years. So he is the Japanese filmmaker who was responsible for directing films like The Naked Island and Onibaba and Kuroneko. Now, this filmmaker's name is Kaneto Shindo. Again, his name is Kaneto Shindo, and he was a Japanese filmmaker. He has a vast output of films, and it's so vast that I think the number of films that we have in the Criterion Collection, which is essentially 3, well actually 4, I'll get to that in a second, but he has so many films. You just check out a list of his filmography, maybe you can find it online, and you'll find that he has so many films out there, many of which I don't think has been released on English language supported releases, but he has so many great, exciting, wild, frenzied, almost experimental films that sometimes really push the envelope when it comes to content and sort of intensity. Kaneto Shindo, therefore, is a filmmaker that is one to watch. And if you can find more films by him that are supported in the language that you require, whether it be English or another language other than Japanese, then I strongly suggest that you take a look and explore his works to the extent that you're able. His works are very intense for the most part. Sometimes they can be quite intense in terms of the intensity of imagery, the use of almost violent imagery, his focus on human sexuality, and his focus on the sort of the perils and the dangers and risks of the human relationship, that is, relationships between two persons. So and he explores all those rifts and the manipulations and the manifestations thereof. And he explores it in terms not only of purely dramatic intimacy, but also in terms of a kind of horror, theatrical, folklore kind of backdrop that has different permutations depending on the type of story that he's telling, of course. So in other words, he infuses this kind of really piercing almost socially conscious eye, with very striking visuals that are punctuated and that are illustrated by these really striking, almost scary visuals. And the intensity is almost swirling to the point of real, genuine thrill. This is, however, an example, though, of the fact that he is, above all else, a master filmmaker, craftsman, artist. His films are really high caliber works of art. And as I say, it's a shame that not more of his films are available on releases outside of Japan. I have a number of his works on Japanese DVDs and mostly Japanese DVDs that unfortunately do not have any English language support. Otherwise, I would be very happy and willing to suggest them here to you today. But he has so many films that are sometimes they have to be seen to be utterly believed. It's just fantastic, the kind of breadth of scope of his works. But with that in mind, let's now focus on what's available to us in the Criterion Collection. And as I say, it's relatively few compared to his wider filmography, but I think having even a few films is better than not having anything at all. So let's go in let's go in spine number order. So the first film that comes in this Criterion spine number order is 226, spine number 226, which is this film. This is from 1964, and this is Onibaba. Now, I don't want to say too much about this film, except this is an intense, almost scary film. It is a film that seems to weave in certain elements of, let's say, Japanese folklore, for lack of a better term. It focuses on elements of horror, some mystery. It focuses on human sexuality. And it is a kind of horror tale, but it is also a theatrical tale. It might even have certain aspects of Japanese theater drama, no theater drama, that sort of thing. So there is a great eclectic mix of a lot of wild elements that come together in this very hyper-realized, frenzied cocktail of a film that is one of those films that really has to be seen to be believed. Again, it's very intense, so if you are wary of those sorts of intense films, maybe this is not for you. But if this is okay, then Onibaba, strongly recommended. This is spine number 226. As it happens, this is a DVD, and as you can tell, it's a little bit of an older release DVD at that. So maybe that might not necessarily be up your alley in terms of a potential purchase. So I'm not sure what its status is on the Criterion Channel streaming service or the like, but if you can find it on streaming and you want to check it out, I strongly recommend it. If you can find it through other better means, so to speak, I strongly recommend it. If you are still okay with getting a DVD, I strongly recommend trying to find this and watching this very unforgettable work by Kaneto Shindo, Onibaba. Next in the spine number order is spine number 584, and this is from 1968. This is the film Kuroneko. So Kuroneko. This is a kind of Japanese historical setting based fairy tale like horror film, and this is an intense work. Again, this is another unforgettable intense work. Again, if you are not interested in these sorts of intense horror fable films, then perhaps this is not for you. But for the rest of you, 1968's Kuroneko is quite a grisly affair. when one thinks about its contents, and it has the ability to shock. But it's also interspersed with the kind of imagery and power over visual craft that belongs only to the greatest of masters. So you're getting just a complete bundle of a masterwork of a film if you're getting Kuroneko. Again, a truly kind of fantastic, and I mean that fantasy-like, so fantastic type of intense film that will that is a film that I know that you will surely remember for maybe days and weeks to come after you've finished watching this film. A wonderfully unforgettable work from Kaneto Shindo. This is the film Kuroneko. So this is Spine number 584 from 1968. This is the Blu-ray, so very recommended if you can. Again, I'm not sure what its status is in terms of Criterion channel streaming. If it's available, please let me know, and I'm sure people might be interested in looking at it on streaming. So if not, there is this great Blu-ray. Next is Spine number 811. Now this is an earlier film from 1960. This is The Naked Island. Now, if the first two films that I showed here, Kuroneko and Onibaba, are more along the lines of the intense, maybe horror film type of works, what you're getting here in The Naked Island is probably a film, not probably, definitely is a film that is on the other end of that spectrum, if you will. So it's not a horror film or kind of an intense ghost story film or anything like that. On the contrary, what you're getting is a family drama, a human drama that is told sparsely, economically, and told with great authenticity and adherence to the value over veracity and truth in cinema. And that's a sort of lofty way, perhaps, maybe too lofty, and if so, I apologize, but it is a lofty kind of way to explain the fact that this film is at once a kind of technical marvel achievement, because it is a film that is, for all intents and purposes, a kind of silent movie. It is a film that has, it doesn't rely on spoken dialogue to tell its tale, but it does have these scenes of this couple, essentially, this family unit, essentially going through their daily routine on this island, which is at once a technical achievement in the sense of its the way the story is being told, but also at the same time, simultaneously, it is a film of deep human emotion and speaks to the human condition in such a direct and personal, almost too personal a way, that I think it is a film that has the potential of being engaging to just about anyone. The Naked Island is so worthwhile. I guarantee it. This is one of those films that you will just, like, I don't know, when I see this film, I'm always just shocked at how engaging the drama is, given the fact that it's being told in the way that it's being told. It just boggles the mind, and that is a great thing. That is one of the great things about cinema, and that is one of the great things about Kaneto Shindo. He never ceases to surprise and amaze. Kaneto Shindo has that rare gift of being an artist that just, you never know what to expect with a Kaneto Shindo film. And my goodness, The Naked Island from 1960 is a film that is certainly in that category. Highly, highly recommended. Again, this is a Blu-ray, Spine number 811. Incidentally, among the great features here, there's so many features here. There's a commentary that actually features Shindo himself speaking in Japanese, but there are I think subtitles for those in English, so you can follow along with the commentary, which is great. But also, there is a really interesting supplement where the actor Benicio del Toro is talking about his love and admiration for the works of Kaneto Shindo, and in particular Naked Island. What a fascinating take. Benicio del Toro and Kaneto Shindo, that is just so fascinating to me. But in any event, it might be interesting to you to take a look. So again, I'm not sure if this is available on Criterion channel streaming. I hope it is. If so, it might be worth checking out. So otherwise, there is this great Blu-ray. So for your consideration, my friends, The Naked Island. That is, I think, it as far as the individual releases of the works by Kaneto Shindo in the Criterion Collection are concerned. There is, however, one more film that is very worth mentioning, which is also directed by Kaneto Shindo, and it appears on the release by Criterion of the film UGETSU. So UGETSU is the film directed by Kenji Mizoguchi, and it itself is a grand cinematic work of amazing, almost transcendental power. It has to be seen. I think it should be seen by everyone. It's one of those great examples of an utterly compelling work of cinematic art. That is UGETSU. So maybe I will talk about this on another occasion. I would love to do so. But the reason why I bring up this particular release here is that included among the supplemental features on the Criterion release of UGETSU is the 1975 documentary, which is directed by Kaneto Shindo. And the English title is Kenji Mizoguchi, The Life of a Film Director. It's 1975. This is one of the most important documentaries by a filmmaker about a filmmaker. It is one of those films that is celebrated in Japanese film critic circles as being one of the great films from the 1970s. It was, I think, considered one of the great films from 1975 according to Japanese film critics at the time. As a film itself, it is quite simply incredibly informative, very deep, sometimes actually a little bit challenging as well in terms of its contents. And I think it might help that one has maybe an understanding or appreciation, to a certain degree at least anyway, of some or maybe a lot of the works of Kenji Mizoguchi. You don't necessarily have to have seen all of his films, but it might be worthwhile to have seen at least one or two or more of his films before checking out the documentary by Kaneto Shindo. At the very least, if you're going to get the documentary as part of the UGETSU Criterion release, it might be worthwhile to watch UGETSU first, and then after you have a sense of what Kenji Mizoguchi is all about, then you can watch the documentary by Kaneto Shindo called Kenji Mizoguchi, The Life of a Film Director from 1975. And again, it is included as one of the supplemental features on the release of UGETSU. So UGETSU itself is spine number 309. Once again, I'm not sure as to the availability or the watchability of the Kaneto Shindo documentary on the Criterion channel. I hope it's available. If so, that would be great, and it really is worth checking out. It is one of the best documentaries about a filmmaker, let alone about Kenji Mizoguchi. So highly recommended. So again, that is another film. That is a kind of fourth film, if you will, that is by Kaneto Shindo, that is in the Criterion Collection. Definitely worth checking out. Also, it's worth checking out UGETSU if you haven't already, but I will leave that for another video on another day. But in the meantime, my friends, the supplemental features include Kaneto Shindo's 1975 documentary masterpiece called Kenji Mizoguchi, The Life of a Film Director. Okay, my friends, that's it for the works of Kaneto Shindo in the Criterion Collection. He is one of those filmmakers that I think is so great because of the breadth of scope and the wideness of variety that leads to, I mean, he makes these films that can be almost like Japanese folklore tales on the one hand, and he also makes films that they're not in the Criterion Collection, but he also has films that are just really devastating modern day social dramas, just everything in between. And he does it with a great sense of care, a sharp intelligence, a real appreciation for art and culture, and just a piercing eye that is attuned to the social issues of the time. And it all comes together in this great filmmaker artiste that creates works that never fail to surprise, that always shock and stun and provoke. That is, I think, the mark of a great filmmaker genius. And so therefore, that is Kaneto Shindo. So my friends, for your consideration, please check out some of those films if you are interested. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please, as always, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you think. And with that in mind, my friends, please keep on enjoying the Barnes & Noble Criterion sale. It is still going on. It's now July 2019, so please enjoy it. Please enjoy yourselves, and please let us know what you get or what you plan to get. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And also, for those of you who are new subscribers, welcome. My name is Daisuke. It's very nice to meet you. Please feel free to leave comments anytime. I will do my best to get back to you. If, for whatever reason, you feel like you've written a comment and it hasn't shown up, or for whatever reason maybe it doesn't get posted, I'm very sorry about that. I never block or delete any comments or anything like that, so everything is fair game. But sometimes YouTube automatically or electronically deletes comments or puts them in a folder or something that I can't necessarily access, or it's just some kind of technical glitch that occurs sometimes. So if you feel like you've left a comment but I haven't replied, or maybe you can't find it anywhere, I really apologize for that. But if you don't mind just sending me the comment again, and I'll do my best to respond accordingly. And then for those of you who have yet to subscribe, who are not subscribers yet to this channel, I would love for you to subscribe, and I'd love to talk with you and engage with you in comments, because I think that's one of the great things about cinema. It's just the ability to be able to talk with people, to hear what people have to say, to hear about the types of films that you love and you cherish. That sort of stuff really makes my day. So if you are interested, please feel free to subscribe, and please feel free to leave comments on the comment section below on this video or on other videos. I would really love the opportunity to hear from you, my dear friends. Okay, so with that, I'd like to say thank you very much. And until we meet again, my dear friends, please be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. So until we meet again, cheers.